Here today at the conference, I was speaking about how funding influences the activities and the goals of civil society organizations. If they receive funding from state authorities or state institutions that are associated with the state, civil society organizations have a lower chance of using contentious repertoires, so trying to use more disruptive means of a protest, of petitioning, for instance, is a soft repertoire, whereas blockades, disruptive, demonstrative would be considered contentious. So civil society organizations that receive funding from the state tend to be less contentious, and they do not fight for reforms. We also checked it for funding coming from charities, and for charities it's not as clear-cut. There we see that charity funding enables actually claims that are going in the direction of reforming the political system, reforming the economic system. We further found that notably a high degree of professionalization is beneficial for both, for contentious repertoires and for reforming. So that is very interesting, because it means that more organized civil society is actually more contentious, and that is counterintuitive, because you would expect that less organized movements are more contentious. So that's what I presented here today, and now I'm curious.
Doing the interview now, yeah. So it's all important that we start to take initiative, right? So what do you suggest to do as a normal citizen to make sure that we really move the needle and change the law or change the game from here?
We are living obviously in times of multiple crises. There's no doubt about it. There is a elite consensus that goes in only in one direction, that hampers all alternatives from appearing. Those elites are the political elites, of course, as well as economic elites that have economic interests, and something has to change. Where to go from now is the question. What we see across the globe, but in particular in Eastern Europe, and that's what the conference was about, de-democratization tendencies, illiberalism, and then we talk mainly about countries such as Poland, Hungary, and then of course, like the further east you go, Belarus, Ukraine at times, Georgia now currently. You see that there is strong illiberal tendencies, but we can see de-democratization also in Western Europe, notably in France, as well as in Germany, where we have a very strong de-democratization going on, with increasing prerogatives for law enforcement, shrinking spaces, shrinking rights of assembly, of voicing your opinion. We see that repression is reached a level that can hardly be dealt with anymore in a democratic setting. So what has to be done there? Well, me as a social movement scholar, of course, I believe that unconventional political participation is a very important supplement to the conventional political participation, notably electoral participation. But we see that there's a lot of discontent in Western European societies. So there's a lot of discontent with the way parliamentary democracy functions. Then, of course, you have those parties that present themselves as alternative, like Alternative for Germany, for instance. But what they actually want to do is continue to maintain the status quo exactly as the parties they are pretending to challenge. So this leaves one actor, and this actor is, of course, the citizen, that cannot be, like the political participation of citizens should not be limited to the electoral arena anymore. And I would advocate for participating protests in trade unions, etc. But of course, we also have citizen initiatives such as referenda, such as petitions. So I think more democracy cannot come from within the political system, because that is not what the political system is interested in. They want to maintain the status quo. Political change can only come from outside the political system. And here I welcome your initiative with a petition to change the law.
You mean this petition, right?
This petition, yes.
Petition.be.
I agree. However, it has been demonstrated that more disruptive means of challenging power are more efficient in achieving your goals. That's like somehow a dictum, or of course it's a controversial discussion. Some say more peaceful modes work better. But in social movement studies, Margot Giugni has written about it. It's commonly accepted that more disruptive a certain way of challenging power is, the higher its chances of achieving its goal, because it increases the costs for maintaining a certain policy or hampering a certain policy from being implemented. And the higher the costs for the political system, the higher the chances that they will take into account that something has to change. However, the costs can also increase through public awareness campaigns, through petitions. That is, of course, a powerful tool if you manage to get a large amount of signatures and media will cover it. Then there's also a chance that those in power will take it into account. Otherwise, if that does not happen, there's like another like a key sentence in social movement studies by William Gibson that goes: a movement that doesn't make a newspaper does not exist. And this is a key for societal stakeholders in general, that they need the only way to exert power, if it's not disruptive, is through public awareness, through getting an electoral support at the end. Like we have it with climate change. Recently, if politics realizes that there is sufficient public concern about it, then they also have an incentive to act because they think that it will reflect in electoral results.
Wow. So we can see that it's all not that all easy. It's kind of complicated. How would you go forward in the right way with it to make it simple?
Well, it's difficult. Simple answers are given by the populists, and that's why they are so convincing. Simple answers rarely grasp the complexity that you were referring to. So reducing complexity is obviously very important. It's hard to look in the future, of course, and we see now decades of democratic decline. We see decades of civil rights shrinking across the board, not only in developing democracies, not only in autocracies, but also in what has been labeled consolidated democracies. There is a consensus that it's okay. During Corona, I think this was amplified. It gave politics and power the possibility to increase hurdles on participation, on expressing your opinion. And you have a very similar discussion now with the student movement at US campuses that is heavily repressed and that is very ousted in the media. Whatever one might think about the foresight, I don't want to make it about that. It's very hard, and it's increasingly getting difficult for civil society and less organized groups and networks to make their voices heard. The thing is, of course, local initiatives have a clear participatory nature. They deal with issues that are close to your life, or with something that is increasingly becoming important. That political messages are framed in a way that they address directly to your life. Otherwise, you will not be attracted by the message, and that is increasingly the case. So local initiatives have this, of course, and they also have the capacity of being actual grassroots, to represent the actual interests. Grassroots initiatives are the most democratic thing we can see.
So there it comes down to, that we start to level it up, that we act upon a society where our voice really can count. This is the most important thing that we have as a human species, that we stand up and that we step it up. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.